but it just kind of breaks up the blue. That needs to be a little darker though, to push it back. So to darken my green, I'll go with some blue and some red and make a really dull, deep green. Looks almost kind of a gray, but that's good for a neutral push it back color. And even this guy, he might be a little more in the shadow. All right, and then now that I have all this dark green in this area, I can take some more yellowy green that we mixed up, half yellow, half of the earthy green, and I can maybe pull a little suggestion of a stem out of that dark area, something like that. Get a little sense of layers. All right, now we could maybe soften in this turquoisey blue between the greens. So that was just turquoise, blue, and a little white. I want it to be darker than the top of the canvas, so that's the main thing. That's about the same color. I might add a little more of the phthalo blue, darken it a little more. And since I'm using the little brush, I'm just gonna kind of come in here and fill in. Make sure there's a nice layer of paint. You could also use this to change the shape of the edges of leaves if you want, like a negative space concept. You define your positive shapes with your negative space. Like when we paint sky holes and trees. And if a little bit of the green blends with the blue, that's okay. I kind of like that. Rinse, 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 rinse. And go back and define the stem a little more. There we go. With the yellow-green. All right, now that hopefully gave our flowers, oh yeah, they're nice and dry. So we can go back and layer, layer, layer. So we have the general shapes and colors of these petals. I think I still want a little more of the purple in the center. I just haven't quite got that dark enough, and it was picking up the last layer because it wasn't dry. So I'll go back to my small brush, red, blue, make purple. And that's a good deep color. And I'll just take the small brush and do the same thing. Start in the center, pull out. Maybe a tiny bit of water. It feels a little dry. Not much. Now we're starting to get that deep color. It can go too dark, I guess. We don't want it to look black, but we want a good sense of shadow in the center. And I'm just pulling out into my petal like rays from the center of a circle. So if this one looks a little too dark, this one has more red, which I like. I can take a little red and just layer it on top of this deep purple. Maybe it got a little too dark, but that's good. It's good to have good strong value changes. And I can always just take a layer of red and pull a little more light into it. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to the big brush though. And I want to use, I guess I want to use orange still. So I've got some red here, some yellow, make a nice orange. And again, just adding more layers of color. I can pull it back into that center that's still wet. Get it to blend a little more. Pick up paint, pull into center. I'm not going to worry if I get a little bit of dark, you know, in that there's ridges in the hibiscus petal, so if you see a little shadow, well, if I can get one. Oh, that's a little heavy. But that idea is not bad. That one's a little too much, so oops, I just got green in my brush and that's not what I want. So we'll rinse that out. And back to red yellow. Maybe a little white even. All right, let's soften. Oops. Let's do that right here. And I got way too much deep red right there, but I can go back to white yellow and blend that back in. Got a little, yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and paint in the little center stamen pistil thing. I think we've got enough color on our flower, we can do that. So it is kind of an orangey yellow at the base, and then it goes more yellow towards the top, and hopefully we'll use a color that's lighter than our shadow color in the orange. There we go, and then we'll rinse that out and add in more yellow. Maybe yellow white. And come all the way up. And then this is a mix of yellows, this little top piece. We'll start with yellow, and we'll add some red dots into it. Let's see. And I rinsed my brush, and I'll just take some plain yellow and just do some little dots in there. Okay, so right here I have a really hard edge on that petal, not blended, so that's not pretty, but I'll use yellow and white to soften that back in. And I think I can do that now. So I'll rinse, big brush, and go back to yellow white. My white is looking a little messy, but I can pull enough out there. There we go. And some yellow. Get a nice pale yellow mixed up. And work from the outer edge of the petal and lightly pull into that darker color. So you get that gradual change. That's better. A lot of these need that softening. Oops. Of course, you can get carried away and cover up too much of your red, so it's that happy medium. Find the happy medium. Let's see, we're going to bring a little yellow in here. So that is how many layers? Probably 4 layers on our petals. It takes a minute to get there. Now they're starting to kind of take shape though. Let's see. I want some pink. I saw some that had yellow and red and orange and pink. They had all the colors. So now I'll go back and find some white that doesn't have green in it. Pull a little out, a little bit of red, make some pink. Make sure my brush is not too loaded because I don't want to completely block out what's underneath. But oh yeah, see, just adding right there. Just a little pink is nice. Right where the red and yellow kind of meet. Maybe a little extra on this guy. A soft brush stroke too. Just lightly making contact with the canvas. And if you didn't love that, you could always go back and change it. It's all changeable. But I like the pink. I think that's a nice color. Now, what else? Maybe a little more light on edges of petals. So not plain white, but almost plain white. A little bit of yellow in it. And come along here and really try to, and if you do need to use plain white just to get it to show up, go for it. I'm almost to that just white because I'm trying to get the suggestion of light hitting little edges. Some here. And I'll dot a little white also in here in the center. So we've got the yellow base, the red dots, the white dots, which the white dots are wet, or the red dots are wet, so it's making pink, but that works. I think that works. What else do we need to do? Maybe pull a little bit of light, and I don't want to get carried away. I think I'll use the big brush, just use it on its side to get a thin brush stroke. And I'll pull just a little extra light through the petals, which is going to be the yellow white, almost white. Almost. Oh, did I get blue? Nope. Okay, that's good. Make sure my brush doesn't have very much paint because I don't want to get carried away, and just kind of pull a little hint of light. Well, that's a lot of light. So I'll leave it alone and go back and look at it in a minute. But that light can be nice. Okay, so where I got a little too white, just pick up some yellow. Knock it back. No big deal. Just knock it back. Oh, I see a little place where we might want to do a little highlight of yellow. Right along this little petal. I think now it's just a matter of looking at it and deciding if you're happy with it. So I might want to soften that little shadow here. Maybe add a little extra light on this edge against a shadow. Same here. And I think that's basically our happy hibiscus painting. We can put a little light along this edge. The only thing is if it's too loud as it comes down into the shadow center, you want to rinse your brush off and blend that back gently so it's not too hard an edge against a shadowy area. And then same here, just do a little light. I don't know, what do you think? So if you see any edges that look like this is a little harsh between the transition to the pink and yellow, so I might come back in and just pull a little yellow through there just to soften. That's a little more natural. So now I'm using my brush thin edge just to blend back and forth between these guys. That could use a little more pink right there. It doesn't have any pink. I must have missed him. There we go. Yeah, I think that pretty much will be a happy summer painting of some happy hibiscus. If we want to do one more coat on our stamen pistils, I don't know, just to make sure it's covered well. Dot a little more red in there. And maybe a little more yellow at the top of it, since we only did one coat. All right. I think we did it. And I hope you enjoy the painting. And we will do it again soon. Thanks for painting along with me. And enjoy.